one.
We are 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 one.
Nation to nation, we are one.
Good afternoon. Right now, I have with me Officer Kevin Williams, an amazing servant of God, and he is from the Dallas Police Department. But I'll go ahead and let him share a little bit, introduce himself. So, welcome, Officer Kevin, to Horns of Heaven Global Network. Thank you so much for accepting the interview. We're looking forward to what you have to share with us today. Can you start a little bit by telling us about yourself?
Yes. Hi, I'm Officer Kevin Williams. I'm originally from Little Rock, Arkansas. I'm married, been married for 34 years, have 2 kids. I've been on the police department, like I say, for 34 years. I joined July 29th, 1991. Throughout that career, I've worked in K9. I've been a field training officer, and I'm currently now working at Dallas Love Field.
That's amazing. So you've been in this career for 34 years. So that I'm sure you have a span of stories to tell about, of what the different scenarios and of what you've experienced throughout this journey. So thank you for sharing that. Now, for us to go a little bit further, can you tell me about a little bit about the Dallas Police Department for those who are in other states and nations?
Yes, police department, we are constructed about 3,300 people when we're fully staffed. The thing I like about the Dallas Police Department, being a large department, you have a lot of units that you can work for, so you can use your talents all over. For instance, I mean, if you're interested in horses, you can go to the mounted unit. If you have pilot license, you can be a helicopter unit. If you're interested in kids, you can go to child exploitation. If you like homicide, you can be homicide, crime scene. I mean, there's so many different units that you can go to within this department. You don't have to be stagnant in just one position. So that's one of the things I like about a larger department.
Wow, I didn't realize that there were so many units, and so people can choose based on what they're interested in. That's something that I learned a little bit more of. Well, can you specifically share with us what the unit is that you serve in?
Regular patrol unit. So that consists of normally answering your day-to-day 911 calls. In my opinion, I feel like patrol is the backbone of the police department. In that unit, you're really the face, and those are the people you see day to day, out patrolling in the cars. And those people, I call them jack of all trades, because you have to know a little bit of everything working at patrol. You have to have a little investigative skills. You have to know about working traffic accidents, so that's why I call it the backbone of the department, that patrol unit. Um, I worked in that unit for basically about 22 years as a patrol officer. And out of those 22 years, 7 of those years, I was a field training officer. And in the field training officer, you train the rookies that's coming out of the academy. So you're responsible for training those guys, getting them up to stuff. So I did that for 7 years out of those 22 years. And after that, I went into the K9 unit. Went to the K9 unit, stayed there for 7 years. And the only reason I came out of the K9 unit is my partner got sick. And once he became sick, we had to put him down. So at that time, I had about 18 months before my retirement. And I had a choice, either staying in the unit or going somewhere else. And because I only had 18 months for that retirement, I didn't want to take a chance of bonding with another partner, then decide to leave, and I had to give him up, because you would have to stay over there for 3 years in order to take your partner with you, whether you retire or transfer to a new unit. So I didn't want to take that chance of me and the family bonding with him. and I'm having to leave him and turn him over to a different handler.
Oh, that makes sense. Wow. So you've come a long way, and again, I we just want to tell you thank you for your service in the community. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey to becoming an officer? How did it all begin, and why?
Yeah, actually, it began one day. I was at school. I was attending the University of Arkansas Little Rock. I had come back home, and I was working full time as a manager at a restaurant, and I was going to school part time at the University of Arkansas Little Rock. And this particular day, I happened to walk through the student union, and Dallas police was there, and they was recruiting. So I went over to the table and picked up a pamphlet. And once I got the pamphlet, I read through it, and based on the qualification and everything, I said, "Well, I qualify for this now." So I started talking to my wife about it. Well, she was my girlfriend at the time. We was dating, and she was a school teacher. She was a school teacher. It was her first year teaching back in Little Rock at the time.
Wow.
And I told her about it, and we talked about it. And she said, "Well, if that's something you want to do, how don't we go? Why don't we go to Dallas during my Christmas break and we just make a vacation out of it, while you're testing?" And I said, "Okay." So we came down, and when you're out of town, they try to expedite the training of the
Mhm.
testing. So I think it was like 4 days of testing that I had to go through. So after going through that 4 day testing, I passed everything, and at that point, it was the only thing was left was the background, which I knew at that point that my background was squared away. So we got back, and of course, I got the phone call from the Dallas Police Department. They said, "Well, you passed everything, and our next class coming up is within a month." Well, I wasn't willing to come within that month because I had some other obligation. I was still working. I didn't want to just leave the people, high and dry, not get them the proper notice. So I told the police department, I said, "Well, I'm glad I've been chosen, but due to all respect, I don't want to leave my, former employee high and dry. I want to give them enough time to train someone." They said, "Well, the next class would be 6 or 7 months." I said, "Well, I'm willing to wait, if that's the case, I'm
Wow.
willing to wait." So they said, "Okay, well, if you're willing to wait, you'll be on the list." So, and once I knew I was coming, I talked to my girlfriend at the time. And, she told me, she said, "Well, I love you and want to be with you, but I don't want a long distance relationship." So at that time, I knew, well, this the one. If I say this the one, she meet all the quality. What am I waiting on? So at that point, we decided to get married before I moved down, and that's how that happened.
Wow. Wow. So you got okay, so you were originally in Arkansas. So I didn't know that about you.
Yeah.
And she was a teacher there and you were working. Okay. And so you proposed to her in Arkansas
Yes.
before the move. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. I love that.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about how the proposal went?
Well, I mean, I was a little nervous. I was young at the time. As a matter of fact, when I proposed, I was 22 years old.
Wow.
I got married on my birthday. I had just turned 23. She's a year older than me, and she had just turned 24. So, that was kind of, that was a big step, to go to, and then to go to her father to ask for his hand to marry his
Woo.
daughter. That was another uh, something I had to get over. But, I'm
And
glad
look
I
at
did it. I mean, she's my best friend, my partner. So it was one of the best decisions, if not the best decision I made outside of accepting Christ.
Amen. Amen. That's amazing in itself. You guys have come a long way, obviously. Definitely a power team. So when you made the move, so you did the proposal, and did you get married in Arkansas or was it in Texas?
No, no, we got married in Arkansas. She made
Oh,
it
in
clear
Arkansas.
she made it clear she wasn't coming here unless she
Oh,
was married.
oh, okay. I get it now.
Oh yeah.
Okay. That's awesome. Awesome. And for those who don't know, his wife is amazing. Her name is Rose, right?
Correct.
Yes, Rose is an amazing woman of God, and so that's amazing to see how you guys both met. Is she still a teacher as well, or
No,
has she changed? Oh,
no,
okay.
she changed careers. Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for sharing that brief background. Okay, so now you're in Dallas. We're shifting gears now. So you're in Dallas, and then I guess the 6 months passed, right? Or because you were on a
Yes.
waiting list.
Yeah, I was on a waiting list, and
Okay.
we lived in Little Rock for a while. And once that time came when the academy was getting ready to start, we moved here probably about a month before the academy started, just kind of get acclimated with the city.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. And so now I've seen a few pictures that you shared with me, and you were with some kids in it, and you titled it Rookie Community Service. So exactly what is that? Can you expound on it? And yeah.
Well, the reason why I titled it rookie, because I was a rookie at the time on that particular picture there. I may have had, 3 or 4 years on. Uh,
Okay.
that was actually I was out patrolling, just doing some regular patrolling, and I was approached by one of the teachers at that particular school who asked me if I would come, and spend a day with the kids. And
Hmm.
so of course, there was no comp time or no overtime. That was basically on my own time. So I made time for that to go out and, hang out with the kids so they could ask me all kind of questions. And it was just a good thing to do, in the community because I remember, growing up when anytime we had, first responders, anything like that, going to school at that age, it was always exciting.
Yes, yes. So that's so awesome to see how you actually, volunteer and spending time with the kids. That's what it's all about community. So thank you for that. And so now, I know that you run the K9, you served in the K9 unit. Can you share a little bit about, I guess, K9 Cliff?
Yeah,
Any memorable moments
yeah.
with him?
Actually,
On the-
once I became a police officer and I was on patrol, I kind of identified, unit that I wanted to go to, and K9 was the unit that I actually wanted to go to, and it was my dream job on the police department, out of all the positions around and all the units, that's the unit that, I wanted to be in. Uh, and it didn't come without some pain, it didn't come without it wasn't an easy road to get in that unit because, even to this day, it's considered a very prestigious unit, because there's normally only about 10 or 12 K9 handlers around. And when you talk about a department of, 3,000 officers, and most of the time when a K9 handler get that position, he normally don't leave, he normally stay there for a long period of time.
Mhm.
And once a position open up, you normally have, anywhere from 30 to 40 people, interviewing for that one position. So, it's one of them positions that's very, very, very hard to get into. So I applied 3 times before I got in there,
Wow.
which the first time I didn't, in my heart, I knew I was good enough to be there, but because politics and everything else, I wasn't expecting to get that job on the first interview.
Mhm.
My job at that time was just to put my face out there, put my name out there, and let them know that I was interested in this position and interview well on that first shot. And I think I did a real good job on that first interview. As a matter of fact, that particular sergeant, it was pretty much known the guy that was gonna get it, it was already the word was already out there, and that was the guy who actually ended up getting the job. And I mean, he was deserving, he was a good guy. So, I can't knock that. But it was out there. But the sergeant actually called me back and told me that I did a real good job on the interview, and he was very impressed. But he didn't really know a whole lot about me because, with the police department, like I say, with us being so large, we're divided up into subdivisions, and I worked Southwest subdivision, and I think he worked Central, and then you got Southeast, Northeast. So we all over the place. And I'm not a guy that really go out and do a whole lot of networking, as far as on my own. But if you in my unit or you're around me and you get to meet me, you'll know who I am. But I don't just go out and just put myself out there. I just kind of let it work itself out,
Right.
So and sometimes it hurts you, if you're not out there like that because people don't know you, because a lot of time when it's a job like that come up, people tend to select people that they know or who they friends know, and trust, So a lot of time that's how they work. But this particular time, he called me, he told me, you did a good job, but we selected this guy here. He said, but I didn't know anything about you. But once I got to asking around, everybody tell me you're a solid guy, and I couldn't miss if I chose you. He says,
Right.
but you did so well. So if this spot come up again, if I'm the supervisor, I'm gonna let you know now that I will select you. This is what this sergeant told me. So I'm listening to him and I'm excited, on his words. But I've lived long enough to know that that he's saying that, but we'll see once the time comes. And Lord
Right.
and behold, that position opened up again. It opened up maybe 4 months after I had applied for that position. It never opened up like that. Like I say, once one of them open up, it closes, and it may be 4 or 5 years before it open again.
Wow.
So based on that information, I knew I had that job. I'm like, man, this guy just called me. He told me I was the guy. So the second interview, I was even more confident, in the questions and everything, more comfortable in the interview. So I thought at that particular time that that I had the job based on what he had told me. But anyway, once it opened up, it took a long time. I didn't hear from him, didn't get any emails, and it might have been 2 months later. I finally got an email that they had selected someone else. And at that particular time, when I got that email that they selected someone else, I mean that would hurt. The first one, I didn't really expect it. I just kind of put my name, but based on him calling me and telling me that I had that position, and if it came up again, if he was a supervisor, that he would select me. But I didn't get chosen that time. And that was like a kick in the stomach. It hurt. And I think my wife, she felt it too because she knew how bad I wanted that position. And
Right.
I didn't get it that time. So the third time it came open, uh, it might have been maybe a year or two later, but this particular supervisor wasn't there. So now we had a new supervisor over there, and the guy I thought I had a rapport with, now he's gone. Now we
Oh,
now we got a new guy that I don't know anything about, and I'm sure he have in his mind who he want to bring over.
right.
Um, at this time, when it came open, I was debating, if I wanted to apply or not. And my wife was like, I don't know, if I don't really think she really wanted me to apply because she knew how much it hurted me the last time when I applied and didn't get it. So she just didn't want me to hurt. And I said, well, I don't have anything to lose, I go ahead and apply again. So I applied again, and this time it really wasn't up to that particular, wasn't up to a supervisor. It was actually one above the supervisor head. Now we had a chief that was involved, and we had a lieutenant that was over that unit. So basically, what they told them, uh, give me your top three guys after your interview. I'll compile the top three guys. Let me look over their resumes, and we're gonna make the decision. So the chiefs, they made the decision on this deal, and I would happen to be in the top three on this here. The,
Wow.
the other two guys that was on that top three, they was both already in specialized units, and I was the only one that was on the top three that was still attached to patrol, which I had been attached to patrol for 22 years. So, in my mind, I've paid my dues in patrol.
Right.
So anyway, after the chief and lieutenant looked at the resumes, they ended up selecting me. And they say, based on you, they say all these guys, these three guys are equal. They said the only thing I'm looking at right now, these two guys here are already in a specialized unit. This guy here, he's been attached to patrol for 22 years, and I'm looking at his resume, and his resume is great. So I feel like with his time on, and I feel like he need to be the one that we need to select over here. So, and that's how I got selected on that. And that goes back, and after I was selected in that position, and with it being a new sergeant over there and the other sergeant telling me that he was going to select me, and that just goes back to confirm that through it all, when you stay faithful, God's still in control, even when it don't look right. So that was just another big testimony, on that, how I got into that unit.
Right. And I'm telling you, it has God's sign, like the hands of the Lord all over it, because he operates in the number threes. And so it was on your third try. And see, he shares his glory with no one. And so the fact that the one that you had favor with was moved out of the picture, it's a whole new different management, and you were still selected. So that in itself is the power of the Lord and His favor on you. And thank you so much for sharing that. So tell me, what is your passion when it comes to your calling or in regards to your calling, and even your occupation? Because I know that you're a deacon at your church, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So, um, and also in doing what you do daily as a police officer, how does that connect with your faith?
Well, I think it connects because both of them are servant. You know, a deacon is nothing but a servant, and the police officer is nothing but a servant either. You know, and if you love to serve, I mean, they go hand in hand. You know, so uh,
Yeah,
I think that's the best way to answer that. You know, it's just being a servant.
that's so true. Now, can you tell me, provide like a sample of any like challenges or hardships that you have faced while while serving?
Yeah, you know, as a police officer,
Hmm.
one of the I guess hardships is you know, you can go out there and work hard and you can do your job to the best of his ability, but you know, with the police department as a whole, I'm talking the nation, not just Dallas Police Department. We talking about all over, you know, and you have good and bad and all. And you know,
Hmm.
from what I've seen, you have more good than bad. You know, you have way more good than bad. But you know, the negative is what everybody highlight and what everybody see. So, you know, when you're in uniform, you know, you want to try to change that narrative. Anytime you make a contact with someone, you want to try to change that negative perception that people have with police officers. So, you know, if you have a chance to, you know, meet someone to do something for someone, you have a chance to really change that narrative as far as all police officers, you know. And then they would say, well, yeah, we got some bad ones, but at the same time, we have some good ones also.
It's so true. And for the viewers, I just want to quickly share that the way that I came across Officer Kevin is because of his service to my father when he was coming in, on flight at Dallas Love Field. And he was there to make sure my dad was safe the whole way. And, he's not looking for any glory or any recognition, which is that's the true um, symbolism of what a true servant is. So again, I just want to tell you thank you for your service to the community, which I have been impacted by that and my father. So yeah, what you're saying is really what you preach. It is what you do, and you are a positive example of of police. They exist, and you are one of them. So thank you for sharing that. Now, tell me about some good things that you've seen in your service. Any victories that's very memorable while being doing what you do as a police officer.
Yeah, I think when I was training, as a field training officer out there, some of the impact you make with some of the young rookies come through. Some of the things that, been taught to me with field training officers, especially good, you try to pass it on down to the rookies that you train. And hopefully, they pick up on some of the good, and that's how your legacy lives on. And I tell them, you have different trainers, and I'm not perfect, and I don't portray to be perfect. So, there may be some things that I do as far as a police officer that you don't like, and you get another trainer, you like the way he do it better, so you don't have to put everything in your toolbox that I teach you, all everything that you feel like is good, put it in your toolbox. Everything you feel like you don't want to use, don't put it in there, so I think that's one of the best ways to give back, for trainers that's out there when they're training, because a lot of time, we can complain about this person and do this or this person and do that, but then you have to ask yourself, did you take the time out and show them the correct way, or ask them the correct way? So that's one of the, I think, testimonies there as far as rookies when you was training.
Oh, makes sense. Makes sense. Thank you. And can you tell me about a little bit about Dallas Field? That's where you operate in. So yeah.
Yeah, Dallas Love Field. It's a specialized unit also, and it's it's a unit, a lot of people vibing to get out there, but I think, you need the right people out there because this is Love Field. You have police work out there that's going on, but it's not like your everyday patrol. Where you're running and gunning and everything is negative. But you do have crime that's going on out there. You do have times where you have to act and be a police officer. But overall, it's a customer service job because most people is trying to get to and from. So it's one of them jobs that you have to, in my opinion, I feel like you need to, enjoy people. You need to enjoy helping people because it can get redundant, where is a taxi, where is a ground transportation, and you don't want it to show on your face if, somebody asking you a simple question, you're saying, well, can't you read? I mean, that's rude, so, and I've seen that done, a few times on it, and it's, to me, it's just not real good customer service. But like I say, for the most part, people out there, they love to serve and this is, like I say, a great place to, if you really want to be a servant and help people, outside of just doing, taking people to jail and things like that.
Ah, interesting. Thank you. Thank you. Now, tell me about how you came to know Jesus Christ, because I know that you're a believer. Tell us
Yeah,
more.
yeah. At a young age, really through my grandmother, growing up, I always went to church with her, spend the night with her a lot. She was always in the Bible. So, really through my grandmother is at a young age.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you. And so, how has your faith influenced your actions and your decisions presently in life?
Well, after you didn't live long enough, when you were young, you hear a lot of testimonies of other people, and,
Right.
and sometimes you witness them, but as you start growing and getting on your own, you have testimonies of your own, so, when things are, or when you perceive things are not going well, you just hold on to your faith. And if you keep doing the right thing, that he will come through. He always do, especially if it's his will.
That's real. That's so true. So, tell us more about your role as a deacon.
Well, basically, like I told you, just like a police officer, I'm just a servant, there
Yeah.
at the church. I do what I can, when I can. It's a large church, so we have several deacons there. One what I try to do, I try to be faithful as a member as far as attending church. I'm serving with the tables as far as the offering, serving with the Lord's Supper, So that's what I try to do.
Praise God. It's so amazing, to see um, that those who are believers in Christ are actually in the field, like such as what you do as a police officer. I don't think many people think much about that, but it's amazing to see his God's servants in action, especially in such a position. So that is amazing. So I wanted to now shift gears a little bit and in regards to your thoughts about the community. You can answer this based on the community or the nation. Um, but so what is your opinion? What's your opinion about the current condition of, let's say, the Dallas community? How is it right now?
Well, I think it's, and it's not only just community, I'm gonna say the nation, I'm gonna say,
Okay, yeah, the nation.
yeah,
Let's
yeah,
take it
yeah.
there.
I think it's divided, right now. It's a lot of division. Uh, but at the same time, I still feel like at the end of the day, we still have more good people out here than bad people.
That's right. Yeah, and I agree about the division that is existing right here in our very own nation. So, if there's anything that you could do about it, what has the Lord placed on your heart, to make a change in regards
Yeah.
to that?
Just be a light, just be a light and just be a positive person, as an individual. I think it take an individual to make a nation or community, better. You know, if you do your part and everybody do their part, you know, we'll have a better place, you know. I just think each individual need to just do their part and shine their light.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. My next question here is, what is your ultimate goal to your God-given calling?
Uh, my ultimate goal is just walk in His light and be pleasing in His eyes. And I think if I do that, everything else will take care of itself.
So true. That's so true. Thank you. As far as police, being a police officer, for those who want to be one but are afraid to be one, and what's your advice to them? Should they go for it? And if so, is it worth it? And what are if you could prepare them if they did go into this, prepare them for both the good and the bad. What would be your advice to that person?
Yeah, I think it's especially if you want to be a servant and if you want to touch and make a difference out here in the community, I think it's a great job. It opened up a lot of doors for you. Uh you probably had some doors open up. I'm sure I've had some doors open up for me. Without the uniform, I probably wouldn't have those doors open up, you know. Sometimes people see me in a uniform and, you know, a lot of time they're a lot more trusting, you know, they treat me a little bit different. I kind of see that too. When I'm out of uniform at the same time, you know, I get treated just like, you know, anybody else that don't know I'm a police officer, you know. So I definitely see both sides, but I would, you know, encourage a person, you know, if that's what they wanted to do, to actually, you know, to go for it. Well, and one of the things I would also tell them is if this is something you want to do, you know, come in it for the right reasons also, you know, you want to come in it for the right reason. And, you know, and like I said, it's going to be good and bad, you know, in everybody and everything. And you're going to have trainers out there that you're going to see do some things that wasn't the way you was taught or trained at the academy. So you just keep that in mind, you know, when you're out there, and don't fall for peer pressure, you know, if it's something that you know that's not right, you know, don't fall for peer pressure, you know, stick to your gun, stick to your faith, you know, on it. And just like I say, just always do the right things and treat people the way you want to be treated. You know, when you're making a decision and when you're talking to someone, you know, you ask yourself, you know, will I treat my mom like this? Will I treat my dad like this? Will I talk to my brother like this? Will I talk to my sister like this? You know, act like the camera on you at all time, because it is.
Wow, that well said. Thank you so much. And what from your take, what would you have to say about those who don't believe in Jesus? And why what would be the reason as to why it would make a difference in their life with having him in the center?
Well, you know, a lot of people may not believe uh, because maybe they're not hanging with with the right people. You know, maybe they hadn't been introduced. You know, and if you're hanging with negative people and have negative thoughts all the time, uh, you know, that can be a reason why you think, you know, every time you turn around with that, there's no God, you know, every time something turn around, there's something bad happening because you're around negative people and they feeding you negative energy. But once you get around positive people and they start feeding you positive things and start sharing testimonies with you of, you know, what God did for me and what God did for this person. And once you start being around them and start seeing it, and then, you know, you'll start believing.
Remember when I've spoken with you previously, you mentioned the whole working for being in the field for 34 years, and you directed it back to God. Can you expound on that?
Yeah. I tell anybody, you know, I hadn't been out here, you know, on my own. You know, I had some good training, you know, but at the same time, I hadn't been perfect, you know, out here. And I know the only reason that's I'm still here is because the man upstairs. Because I mean, there's no way, you know, for 34 years that you know I've been out here this long, and I'm still here to be sitting here talking to you, especially a city of this magnitude with everything going on today.
Right, right. Well, I think that's it. So if you said there's nothing else that you wanted to add, like a final note for the viewer or reader. If you could say anything in this world, anything, if it'll be a word of encouragement, anything, what would that be?
I just tell you, keep your hands in his hands. Keep your hand in his hand.
Amen. That's short and sweet and to the point, and it is what it is. So thank you so much, Officer Kevin. I appreciate you taking this time to do the interview. I really, really enjoyed it, and taking us into the through the eyesight of what a police officer is. And again, thank you for your service in the community. You are definitely making a difference. So God bless you, and thank you for joining this interview today and taking the interview with Horns of Heaven Global Network.
You're welcome. I'm Officer Kevin from the Dallas Police Department. This is my story from Dallas, Texas to the nation across the globe. We are one.
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 Nation to nation, we are one.
Rise up,